It's on B, right? إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah, we're here today in our Tajweed lesson. Tajweed always makes me happy, tabarakallah, alhamdulillah, because it is very beneficial, especially to people who've been starving to learn the Quran, the Book of Allah, and haven't been able to get access to and this is the benefit of a text. A text, Ya Ahmed, Whatever you study, for years, the American people have been studying Tajweed. Immigrants and non-immigrants, everybody's American's an immigrant, but everybody's been studying Tajweed. And there's been a lack of teachers here in the States to teach Tajweed. So someone will come from overseas, because that was the only place you can get it. And still, that's the only place. You don't go overseas and study, you're not going to get it. Unless you find a teacher who came from overseas. So you're still learning it from overseas. They would come and he would start teaching us Tajweed. But he wouldn't use a text. Wouldn't use a classical work. So we would learn certain rules. And then that teacher would go away. And we had nothing to establish those rules and remember that type of qawaid, those principles. Another teacher would come a few months later or another year, and we'd have to start all over again. Because we couldn't state with any definity what we have learned. And that's the benefit of studying a classical work. It's the same work that the big shuyukh, we said big dogs, but we don't use dogs in Islam as that terminology. But the larger, more knowledgeable shuyukh, they've studied these same texts. And we're studying those same texts. Yes, at the level that we're doing them now, we're not doing them as detailed as we've had to study them to get ijaza, in those different subjects. But this is where it starts. When I was in Mauritania, we used to ask us Americans and Westerners in general, would ask all these deep questions about the text. And the sheikh would slow us down. You wouldn't understand the answer, he said. That's not for a person at your level to ask. What you need to do is just learn the book first. And after you get familiar with the book, we'll go over it again and I'll really teach it to you. And that was the way it is. And that's what we're doing now. We don't have any of that veneer, none of that pomp and dog and pony show. But we have is a class. This is a classroom. And we're going to teach this text at a beginner level. And we're not going to miss it. Sometimes I listen to it and I make a verbal mistake or something. Hey, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything you hear, sometimes I may make a mistake. Jalla ma la yasu. Allah is the only one that's perfect. It doesn't mean that the majority of information that we're giving is correct. I'm just saying that because I do notice some things on tape. Sometimes I say, oh, that was incorrect. But not in the principles that I'm giving you. Okay? I'm talking about what we call al-khata al-badal al-khata. Like I said, I saw myself when I really meant I saw Makin. Something like that. Or I might say ha in the place of ha. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Not in the principles. The principles are solid. How do I know they're solid? Because they're from the classic. They ain't from me. Everybody understand it? So memorize the text, because that's what the ulama are going to judge you about. When you show up in front of some shuyukh, real shuyukh, they're going to ask you what your name is, right? And they're going to ask you next, what have you studied? If you say you're a talab alim, what have you studied thus far? And you better start mentioning some texts. And they better be classical texts. So that's what they're going to judge you on. Shalom. Not that you're doing it for judgment, but they know what your level is and they know how to deal with you. Okay? أقول قولي هذا ونبدأ. We are now in the chapter of Iqlab. We finished. We started off. We're at Bab. It's still in the same chapter. The first chapter of the book, which is Bab al-Nun al-Sakina with Tanween. The chapter of the Nun al-Sakina, and the Tanween. Right? Right? Yeah. I feel good. I feel great. I feel this way every day. Guys, wake up. Alhamdulillah. And get some movement. Inshallah. So, Nun al-Sakin wa Tanween, right? Yes. Wow, that wasn't much better. Anyway, now we did Idhar. The first rule we did is what? Idhar. What are the letters of Idhar? No, it's not Hamza, it's Hamza. There's two H sounds. Ha and ha. Ha's from here. We say healthy. Say healthy. Say heavy. That's ha. And the other one is ha, like jalapeno. Don't never mind it's from a J. It's the sound that we're dealing with. Okay? So we're saying Hamza, Faha'u, Thumma Ainu, Ha'u. Muhmalatani mean they don't have anything on them. Thumma Ghainun, Kha'u. That's idhar. That's the first rule of Nun Sakina. What? Tanween. What's the second rule, Ahmed? Hesitation kills. The second rule is idgham. Idgham, not idgham. 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 And now idgham is what letters? Fi what word? Yarmaluna. Yarmaluna, which is ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon. What is it? Ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon. But idghamun is lakinnahu qismani. Qismun yudghama fihi bi ghunnatin bi what? Bi yanmu. Here we have yanmu. And the other one is what? Bi ghayri ghunna? Lir. Okay? So we have yanmu. And we have lir. Yarmaluna. So we have two things here. So we have idhar, which is one. We have idgham, which is two. A and B. A and B. Right? That's where we're at. Bi ghunna, yanmu, and bi ghayri ghunna. Without ghunna. Right? So here we put ghunna. The way they do it. No ghunna. Everybody got that? Now, we're at the next rule now. وَالثَّالِثُ الْإِقْلَابُ عِنْدَ الْبَاءِ. Say, وَالثَّالِثُ. Afwan. وَالثَّالِثُ. My spelling is off. وَالثَّالِثُ إِقْلَابُ عِنْدَ الْبَاءِ. عند الباء نونا بغنة مع الإخفاء. So it says والثالث الإقلاب عند الباء نونا بغنة مع الإخفاء. So we learn a rule here. Here is, and the third rule. So we have two rules here. For Nun Sakina wa Tanween, we have idhar, we have idgham. Idgham bi ghunna and idgham bi ghayri ghunna. All right? Now we have the third rule. The third rule is, and the third what? Third rule for Nun, a Sakina and Tanween. The third rule is iqlab, right? Iqlab is a word, means qalb. We have the word qalb. Everybody say qalb. It is your heart. But it's not exactly what qalb means. Qalb means tahwilu shay'an wajhi. To flip something off of his face, turn it inside out. That's why the heart is called qalb, because it flips. One day you like this, next thing you hate it. You know, that's how the heart flips like that. And also, what does it do? It takes, if you knew about medical terminology, you know the blood comes into the atrium and out the ventricle. So it comes in one way and pushes out the other way, comes in the other way and pushes back out the other way, right? Then goes into the aorta. So here the qalb is pushing and flipping, okay? Also, in this rule, it's called iqlab, because it flips the script. It flips the noon بغنة ميمن بغنة مع الإخفاء. I made a mistake. It's not noon, it's miman. Afwan. I made a mistake here. Astaghfirullah. Memorization. Miman بغنة. I'm sorry. Miman. Subhanallah. Miman بغنة مع الإخفاء. Alhamdulillah. That's why we memorize the text. Because even when you make a mistake, you're going to say, hold it, that's not right. Okay? Miman bi ghunnatin ma'al ikhfa'i. But what happens? We're dealing with the noon as-sakin. So it's to flip. The terminology is qalb, is tahwilu shay and wajhi. To flip it off his face. So when you see this noon and you find over it a meme, you flip that noon into a meme. Okay? It's no longer noon now. You flipped it into a meme. And remember last time I said you have your mouth slightly open when you make this sound on the noon? This is what I'm talking about here. Okay? Anbiya. Say, you get ready. You start off with the noon, and you get that and there's no noon sound here. But you say, but your mouth is slightly open. That's how Husri used to do it. Some people say, well, there's ikhtilaf. There is ikhtilaf amongst the people of Ada, whether you close your mouth completely. Anbiya. Some people say that. But Imam Husri, who's considered the Imam of Qira'ah, he said, keep it slightly, rahimahullah, he said, keep it slightly open. So that's what I say. Anbiya. Say it. Anbiya. See, that sound there, it's an, be, yeah, right? And, be, yeah. But here the noon has flipped to a meme, okay? You understand that? And that's how it looks. The noon is not pronounced. The noon is not pronounced. The noon is not pronounced. Did I say that enough? The noon is not pronounced. Right? The noon is not pronounced. Anbiya. Now, I like the thing with the slightly. Anbiya. And when your lips come together is when you hit that ba. This iqlab is only in one letter. The one letter that it's in, it's ba. It says, وَالثَّالِثُ الْإِقْلَابُ عِنْدَ ba. What is it? عِنْدَ الْبَا. How many letters? One. What's the letter? Ba. Can you forget that? It's easy. وَالثَّالِثُ إِقْلَابُ عِنْدَ الْبَاءِ مِيمًا بِغُنَّةٍ مَعَ الْإِخْفَاءِ. So we know what gunna is. We know what gunna, that's that nasality, that sound in the nose. Like you go like this, right? So we're carrying that. Biya. Biya. Now, what does we mean by ikhfa? Because now we haven't learned ikhfa mean. Ikhfa literally means a sitr. Okay, we haven't gotten to that rule yet. A sitr is like what you put in the curtain so no one sees you. So it's like hiding it. Okay? Or a sutra, when you put it in front of you when you pray, so no one walks in front of you. If they walk outside of it, then it doesn't break your salah, and you don't have to fight them. Okay? So here, al-ikhfa that's how you're dealing with this sound. That so now when you get to the meme, it puts cover on this noon. That's why I said it's gone. Okay? And then when you get to the meme just has its glide into the ba. You see it? And you give it a point. Anbiya. You understand that? Now we're going to go over a few words from Surah Al-Juz Amma. Not Surah Al-Juz Amma. Astaghfirullah. I had a teacher from India by way of England. He used to consider the Quran only 30 surah. Each juz was considered a surah to him. Okay, he said for 10 years he read a surah a day. And I was like, what do you mean he read a surah a day? He meant a juz a day. He would read a juz a day like that. And actually, he would read more than that. But he was saying that, I said that wrong. He would read the surah, the juz as though it was a surah. And he would complete the Quran in 7 days. So he did that for 10 years, completing the Quran in 7 days. You understand? But he considered each juz like a surah. So he wouldn't read less than a juz in one sitting. You understand what I mean by that? So that's how he used to do it. Astaghfirullah. So barakallah fi Sheikh Muqri, hafidhullah, in England, Sheikh Jalil, fi qira'ah. Now, he's the Sheikh, I say that you don't go see him until after you memorize the Quran, and then he sits you down and he goes over for 1 month just the letters. You don't read no Quran with him. And you think, wow, why is everybody coming out of his house so strong? And then when you get there, he's saying that you're not going to read the Quran. It's because what he does, he corrects your pronunciation. Because the tajweed is really giving each letter its right. Min sifatin laha wa mustahaqqahu. Right? Giving each letter its right. So if you just learn how to pronounce the letters properly, of course your tajweed gets better. That's why we come up with master letters, to learn how to properly pronounce the letters. Okay, moving right along. Now, iqlab has the rule of ba, right? Ba. So, it's going to be in a noon and it's going to be in a tanween. We're going to have some examples here, inshallah ta'ala, to make it easy on the brothers. أمثلة الإقلاب, we have فأنبتنا فيها فأنبتنا فأنبتنا فيها حبا. Just so we can just stop right there, okay? So then the way we're going to do this, and again, from our adab, from our minhaj, is that we overline, we don't underline, okay? The kuffar come and they underline. In Islam, our sunnah has always been to overline. In fact, every place that you find in the Quran where it's an important ayat that you need to make sajda for it, what do you find it? Overlined. Sad thing is that the Muslims are following the kuffar and everything, and even some of the newer masahif have started to underline. They start putting the red letter Allah in those masahif, following after the kuffar when they do their Bibles and they put red letter Jesus. So every time they put the name Jesus, they make it red. Now we find in the Qur'ans that the red letter, they put Allah and they make it red. This is following the kuffar. Right, but what they didn't, he's saying now, is what they say, Jesus said exactly this, they put it red. But in the Masahif, they make the name of Allah red. This is an innovation to single out like that. This is not from our deen. Likewise, from the subtleties of them taking over and us following them, is changing them from overlining to underlining. Overline, that's from the sunnah. That's from our culture. That's what we do. Overline, overline, overline. Leave them in there, even the most silly, small things, and follow the sunnah. Well, that's how we distinguish ourselves. So, what the rule is, we're going to read up to here, and then we say this word again once or two or three times, okay? That's how we do it when we're starting to get these, because I noticed we're not memorizing the examples. So we have to start memorizing them. So we say, فَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا حَبًّا فَأَنبَتْنَا. That's how we do it. You understand that? And that's how you should practice. When you're at home, you say, فَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا حَبًّا فَأَنبَتْنَا. No, I don't mean for you to follow me, sorry. فَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا حَبًّا فَأَنبَتْنَا. You understand? We go, that's how you practice at home, doing it again. Another one we have, مِن بَعْدِ. That's no problem. تفضل. مِن بَعْدِ. Mim ba'di. So we have mim ba'di. Another thing that happens when you do this, another thing that happens here is by writing out the Quran. We had a brother from Al Jazeera. He came to Mauritania and he memorized the Quran in less than a year. And he was strong with it. So we said, wow, subhanAllah, how you finished the Quran in less than a year? And, memorization, hibzan istihdaran. You made it, he got it. He said, what I did is I wrote it down 7 times. He wrote the Quran out from beginning to end 7 times within that year, every day, right? So what happens is, as you write out the Quran, it comes into your head more. Write it out. Write it out. One of the things that I always suggest to people who have children, when they're born, or when you find out you're having a child, if Allah bless you with a child, write them a mushaf and give it to them in your own handwriting. When they leave your home, you give them a mushaf that you wrote out. They'll pay more attention to it. Do you understand? Because this is my father's writing. He wrote this and wanted me to pay attention. You have many children, guess what? You'll be good. And it could be your hobby that you're making this one for this child, you're making this one for this child. That's something that you can be very productive and ask Allah to help you finish that. You don't have to be done at once. You got to be done by the time they get married. But you put your handwriting on it. You give it to them. Another thing the ulama suggests, make a book of 40 hadith. We're not saying that this is from the sunnah. But and they don't have to be 40. Compile a book and write in those hadith that affect you the most. And you want your daughter, your son to know these hadith. So you say, here, these are the hadith that really affected me. Here. You think they won't know those hadith? My father used to say, they'll narrate it from their father, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. You understand? Well, even though it's weak chain because you didn't meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but on Abi Hurairah, and you give the isnad where you got it from, your child will very much hold on to that. We can do this. We want to encourage the children with Islam. We can do it, little things. If you wrote them a juz, they would pay attention to it. من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة من بعد من بعد a little bit louder, clear. من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة من بعد. You see here? فأنبتنا من بعد. The next one is كل نفس I say nafsin like this, but then I turn it. نفس بما كسبت رهين. Okay. كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة. You need more air because this ta has to have a little, whisper. It has to have that humps. That's why, again, we teach each letter and we teach you the rules for each letter. Because now when I say humps, you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Ibrahim? Right? What is that humps? What does it mean? Take your hand away from your mouth. What is humps? That's right. It's a whispering sound. So I want to hear kasabat. You hear that? Has to whisper. I don't want to hear kasabat. That's Brooklynese or Bronxese. The Quran, have you said, كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة. كسبت رهينة. كل, it's in the front of your mouth. Remember, it goes up into the front. كل نفس بما. نفس بما. نفس بما. كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة. كل نفس بما. نفس بما. So we have here 3 examples. We have it in one word. فأنبتنا. In 2 words. من بعد. With the nun sakina. And then in 2 words with the tanween. نفس بما. You got me? Very easy. That's this rule. The rule is qalb, to flip the noon sakina and the tanween to a meme. You do not hear the noon sound. Right? You flip the script, as they say. And you say, فَأَنبَتْنَا مِن بَعْدِ نَفْسٍ بِمَا. Very easy. Or أَنبَتْنَا. I'm sorry. Astaghfirullah. I meant to say أنبياء. That's the easier one because we have Surah Al-Anbiya. Right? Anbiya. The noon is gone. We got it? We flip the script. That's it. We don't have to go any further. Any questions? أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم وفيكم بارك الله.